Evening, everybody. It's 5:53 on this Thursday afternoon, and here we go. We have a closing comment. It is video number 2069. We had a bunch of earnings today. The claims number, as we discussed this morning, was just roughly in line, didn't really have much of anything to do with it. We did also have another big bond auction that looked like it was completed in a very positive manner, but somehow that didn't filter down to the 10-year, which has now come up from about 385 to a new um, recent high of 4.17%. That was up 6 basis points. The 210 is now negative 28 basis points. So it's coming in a little, not very much. We had a bunch of earnings. Some of them were very good, some of them not so great. So let's get started on those. We had the Disney earnings, which were, terrific. We actually had a position in Disney that I sold today at 211 spot 72. I will be happy to buy it back if it pulls back, but it gapped up. The low for the day was up $6. It's well above the upper Bollinger Band, and leaving that gap, I fully expect to be able to buy it back around 100. Um, we had Ralph Lauren with a beat. The stock had closed 147.14 and it had a high of 173.94. Pretty substantial. That's $26. The close on it was 171.82. That's up 24.68 or 17%. Everest Group closed 383.94. The low today 343.76. The last 354 and a half. That's down roughly 29 and a half. That one was 7.7%. Affirm, which is a buy now pay later deal, uh, the stock closed 49.16, up 455, and then had a low of 37 and a high of 55. The last is right in the middle. It's 43.31, down just $1.30. So that one improved a bit. The next one is FLT, which is FleetCor Technologies, also a technology company. It closed the day yesterday at 291.99, had a low of 259 and a quarter. The last on it 265.13, that's down 26.86, 9.2%. T2 Interactive 169.61, and that was basically unchanged, up or down 4 cents, I believe. The stock ran up to 174.75 on the headline, and then came crashing down to 151.21. Last 152.90, down 17. Pinterest, also another wild one. It closed the day at 40.72, down 11 cents, and immediately turned all the way down to 34.20, and then rallied up hard, made a new high on the day at 41.99, but could not hold it. Last is 37.20. That one's down 363. Seems like not very much, but it is 9%. And Expedia, another disaster. 159.47, up 509 on the day before the numbers. The low after the number 132.52. The last 138.60. Down 1578. So, this just goes to show you how broken this market is. The market, I've said this before, I'm sure I'm going to say it again. The market is about um, price discovery. And the market generally has been an excellent um, barometer for price. These things, 15, 20%. I mean, you get a company the size of Ralph Lauren that moves from 147, goes up $26, so over 20% on news that, you know, they had guidance out there. And then there are the others that, you know, have nothing but air beneath them. So, this is a very tough market. Even though today um, the Russell was the big gainer, up 1.5%, while everything else was up less than a quarter of a percent. I mean, you know, they're talking about 5,000 on the S&P. It closed close to that. And so what? I mean, it's a number. They can make all the big deal about it that they want, but the fact is, um, I told you 3 weeks ago that the measured move was 51.92, and while I am disturbed about the way the market is acting as irrationally as it does, with 15 and 20% moves on major companies, um, 5,000 means nothing. Okay, the chart on the screen is the oil. I told you when we came off this uptrend line, which, by the way, looking at the weekly chart, is the same place I've been buying it every single time. This green line, this is the 200 week moving average. We came right down to it and then popped right back above it. And since then, we've gone from a low for the week of 71.41 to a high today at 76.59. That's a fairly impressive move. On the daily chart, I'll show you. Um, my concern here was the fact that the 5 day was crossing the 20 and the 50, and that the MACD looked like it was going to roll to the downside, which it has. However, we have a series of 1, 2, 3 days now of higher highs and higher lows. And on the daily, we're coming up to the 200-day moving average. So, unless we're going to get some sideways action in here to consolidate this gain, I doubt we're getting much higher. Certainly expecting this 200-day MA, which comes in around 77.40, as 77.38 actually is the number. I expect this to be a problem. We did have, though, big volume. Yesterday, I pointed out that the volume on the rise was declining every day. Today, it seems to have reversed that. So we'll see what happens with that. Nat gas continued lower again today. It has now broken the bottom that I mentioned in my letter and in yesterday and last night's closing comment, and we are just collapsing out of it. I want to show you just how far back you have to go in order to find. I mean, this low was the 194.60. Let's see. You have to go back. Uh, this is 3 years. Let's look at 5 years. Yeah, you have to go back to 2020. So a solid 4 years in order to find a lower price than where we closed today. So very bearish, this one. Even though there is a seasonal that was discussed from the Stock Traders Almanac in Sunday's letter, it seems like it's going lower. Um, Gold was all over the place today, got up as high as 2053, got down as low as 2034, and basically closed down $3.80 yesterday. This traded same way, higher high, lower low, and was only basically unchanged. The silver, on the other hand, was up 27 cents, and copper was down 3 cents. Um, Sugar consolidating here, I think looks higher. The dollar was up 12 cents as today's bonds were down over a point and 5/32, so a point and an eighth on that. And Bitcoin up 1,340. And that chart bears looking at because we came out of another consolidation on that one on the daily. And let's go to the daily. As you can see, we consolidated, we moved across a bit of a flag, but we came out of it yesterday. And today it was never worse than unchanged. Didn't leave a gap, which is good. This should be an area of some resistance, 46,000, 46.9, but we're right there. So, all right, folks, tomorrow's another day. I hope everyone had a good day, and I'll be back in the morning.